Eastern regions. Mandera South Member of Parliament Abdul Haro is now right here with us to talk about this. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for coming tonight.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you. When is the last time you were in Mandera with these rains?
I was last in Mandera on 30th October.
30th of October.
Yes.
That's about a month.
Almost a month.
Almost a month.
And the rains just began when we were leaving
Mandera.
Time, yes.
So from the day the rains began until now,
yes.
What is the situation on the ground? What are you being told by your constituents?
Well, the situation is really bad because whole towns have been marooned in water. You know, it's like a basin. And the water is surrounding all towns, and especially a town, the biggest town in my constituency called Elwak, is an old town, and they used old construction materials. So most of the houses have had their walls demolished, and the town is completely cut off. The water, the toilets, all that sewage and everything has now been mixed up with the borehole waters. And worst of it is even the main road to Mandera, which passes through my constituency, for example, along the Wajir-Mandera border, that road is also cut off. The main crossing that was there, it was completely a bridge. And
there's a bridge. I know there's a bridge there.
It's been swept away.
Okay.
And they were just trying to make sure they do some temporary works yesterday. And some lorries which have been at that crossing point for the last 2 weeks, about 100 lorries. Some were able to cross last night.
Okay.
You know, and those which were carrying perishables like tomatoes, vegetables, of course they're counting losses. But those ones which were carrying goods which were not perishable, at least 50 of them were reported to have crossed yesterday.
Someone would wonder, as a member of parliament, why is it that the last time you went there is 30 days ago and there's a situation down ground?
Well, I was there, when we were just leaving is when the rains began. And then the whole place was cut off. There were no flights to take you there. There were no roads to take you there. So the only thing that some of us were left to do is to monitor the situation through phone calls and through talking to our people. And at the same time, we were also doing a lot of lobbying and advocacy around here.
From the national government?
From the national government.
What does the national government tell you as the member of parliament whose area is one of the most affected?
Yes.
What is the national government telling you?
Well, they empathize, they tell you they will do something, and unfortunately, until the other day when the president summoned the entire, El Nino response team to State House, and on Monday when the cabinet met, the response was almost nil.
Okay. There was nothing happening on the ground.
Nothing happening on the ground.
Okay.
But now we are starting to see a little, the KDF helicopters are trying to move some food and medicine to the ground. And also now that some parts of the road are slowly opening up, some goods are getting in. So the national government, particularly the Ministry of Asal, unfortunately, did nothing for the last 2-3 weeks, but now after this coordination and one government approach efforts, we are starting to see.
What is the county government doing? What does your governor tell you is happening on the ground? Because I assume the governor must be on the ground.
Yes, the governor traveled there last week, and he's also traveled there with CS Defense about 4 or 5 days ago.
Eden Duale.
Yes, Eden Duale. They used the military choppers to access those areas, and he's actually saying the situation is very bad, but the county government is trying its best. There is Red Cross on the ground, which is also trying its best as the first responders. And what the county government is basically doing is they've purchased a lot of drugs which are at KEMSA here. But unfortunately, how to make those drugs get to the ground is now the question.
Especially with the concern of waterborne diseases. You've just painted that picture of flood mixing with the sewage.
Exactly. So the county government has purchased a lot of drugs. There's a lot of food which has been purchased, but because the roads have been cut off, See, the problem is, even when the road between Wajir and Mandera opened a little bit last night, and a few lorries went through, the road now from Garissa and Isiolo passing through Modogoshi is cut off. Which means once we exhaust the trucks which were already stuck at Kotulo, no more trucks are going to come from Garissa.
That's Kotulo Kobo.
Exactly. So that challenge is still there. So the governor is trying his best. He's on the ground. of course, preparing for the national celebrations on 12th.
Yeah.
And he's his capacity is also
limited.
because don't forget, we've just come out of a drought which was also touted as one of the worst drought in 40 years.
You told me off camera that you have never in all your life in northeastern part of Kenya, you've never experienced something like this. You've never seen it before. Correct.
We have never experienced that kind of water that we have seen this time. We have been there even during the 1997 and 1998 El Nino. It rained for almost 3 months, but we never reached the level we've reached today. This is just almost 4 weeks of rain, and the whole towns are submerged. Hospitals which are supposed to take care of the sick are submerged. Schools are submerged. Students actually who are doing KCPE and those who are doing KCSE did those exams under very difficult circumstances. Some of them did exams in classrooms which were flowing water under their desks and what have you.
So Moesh, with hindsight, having been a member of parliament that region and being a resident of that region, what would have been done differently to avert this? Because the notice was there. Was there enough preparedness?
No, I think there was not enough preparedness, because remember, the notice was issued that there's going to be an El Nino, and then the government again told the people there's not going to be El Nino.
There'll be heavy rain.
It's going to be an enhanced rain. And that one actually put everybody off guard. Even the county governments, they had started doing some assessments, but when they were told it's just going to be an enhanced rain, then everybody put their guards down. And then the way rains came, they came in torrents, and we are being told by the weatherman, by the way, that the next 3 weeks are going to be worse.
Yeah.
Because we are told there is a tornado sort of coming from the Somali side, which is particularly going to affect northeastern region. And if that happens, then I don't know.
So what now would you want the government, the national government, to know, and what exactly is happening, and what are you telling your people? If at all they have electricity right now to even watch television?
You see, I think that's a very good question, because if the trucks carrying food and if planes which are supposed to supply that area are not available in the next 1 or 2 weeks, and the rain which you are being told comes, then it's going to be a disaster, because the supplies people had almost in all the shops, they have run out. And the little that is there is very expensive. You can even have some money in your pocket, but you don't know what to do with that money, because you can't buy anything. So there is danger of supplies running out. There is a danger of hospitals running out of medicine. And there is a danger of that place being cut off completely from the rest of Kenya and also from neighboring countries, which means you will be dealing with a population of about, for example, Mandera County is a population of about 800,000 people, according to the 2019 census. So you will be having about 800,000 people marooned in a county which cannot be accessed either from Kenya or from the neighboring countries. And it's the same story if you extrapolate that to northeastern, Wajir, Garissa. The road that was supposed to link Nairobi to Garissa is also swept off at a place called Bangal, which means there is no one coming to Garissa from Nairobi, and the route from Isiolo is cut off at Modogashe.
So this is a place right in the middle of nowhere.
Completely.
Or right in the middle of water, let me say that.
In the middle of water.
Yes.
And we have never seen something like this, because water is now coming into homes, We used to see floods and, it happens out there, the homes are safe, but now it's like water is coming into every home. It's like perhaps this place was an ocean before, and water is just coming back to reclaim its...
So it's like a bowl that is being filled with water right now.
That's being filled with water.
Okay. Fortunately, there's not so many losses of lives in that region as that now?
There are about, up to now, if I speak for Mandera only, because that's the statistics I'm very clear about, we have deaths as of yesterday. We have deaths of about 12 people.
That's a lot
5 people in Mandera East. Actually, all the 5 died in a place called Kamor. Somebody did a pit latrine, something like a sewerage pit. They never filled it. The water came, and because it's a popular crossing point, especially for children, they all come there, they put their foot in the water, and because there's a pit down there, they disappear. So that kind of, neglect and poor workmanship when contractors do some of their works is also a bad thing. And then 7 others have died in Mandera South constituency, for example. 2 standard 8 children died during the early days of the rain because they also fell in pits like that, when the water is filled everywhere, you don't know where there is a depression, you don't know where there is a pit, and they died in that kind of a scenario, and 4 of them were also swept away by a river called Laksure, which has got its source in the Ethiopian highlands. So we have about 12 deaths in
confirmed
Mandera
from your
yeah.
All right, your final words on this in terms of intervention, if you think there is something that can be done, especially with these 3 weeks that have been projected,
yes.
that it will even be more serious.
I would really urge the government to step up its efforts, particularly in those counties which are marooned, and then we want to see this action that the president announced, that the government will move in with a one government approach. We want to see the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Arid Lands, Ministry of Special Program, all those ministries working together in terms of consolidating their capacities and their efforts. And we also want to see our military in action. Like in Somalia now, the military is assisting people who are marooned in floods. We want to see our military also come in with their choppers and assist. In some of the areas in northeastern now, it's only airdrops that can supply people.
You drop in water.
And you drop in those ones who have moved to the higher ground.
Okay.
You can drop for them the mules. But do we have the capacity for airdrops? You see? Red Cross have told us they don't have the capacity for airdrops. I don't think KDF has capacity for airdrops. The only institution around that I think has capacity for airdrops is WFP, which can call its air force from, its air power from Khartoum and South Sudan and what have you.
Okay.
But they can also not move in unless the government declares this as a national disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are asking the government, first of all, don't shy away from announcing this as a national disaster. It's a disaster which has engulfed 36 counties. And there are so many deaths, almost 130 by today in the entire country, according to the statistics I had read somewhere. And that's, by any chance, a disaster of a big magnitude.
Exactly.
And we don't know, as the rains are expected to come until up to January, the suffering can only be more. And of course, don't forget, like we said, mosquitoes are now everywhere. We'll start seeing malaria outbreaks, even yellow fever outbreaks, which affects livestock and people. We will start seeing diarrhea problems like cholera and what have you.
Yeah.
So we want to see the government committed to this cause. Let them announce it as a national disaster and move in as a one government approach, and let them take resources there.
Okay.
Yeah.
A good place to end.
Thank you.
Declare it national disaster and get resources into northeastern and most of the eastern part of the country also. Thank you so much, Mandera South Member of Parliament Abdul Haro. We'll keep monitoring what's happening and definitely reporting on this. Our teams are always on the ground to see what happens. Those statistics should come to an end, but the projection is the rains will proceed. Still ahead, stakeholders